The views expressed on the following program are not necessarily those of WPSL. However, we're the ones who've encouraged you all along to like and share them on social media and with all your friends and neighbors, because it's time now for Joanne's World of Nutrition, brought to you by Joanne's Nutrition World in downtown Fort Pierce and hosted by the one and only Joanne Seeger.
Good morning, everyone. Happy Wednesday. I hope everyone's having an incredible morning so far. For us Floridians, at least here on the East Coast, we're having a little break from this horrific humidity and heat. But all these thunderstorms, like lots of rain, but right, we need the rain, make everything keep growing. Well, once again, it's that day that I love and I look forward to, where my guest is Burt Goulding Jr. Good morning, Burt. How are you?
Doing great. How are you?
I'm doing great. I feel better and better each and every week, thanks to your program. Thank you. So, and actually, we're going to talk about that a little bit today, if that's okay.
Sure.
One thing I love about having Burt on my radio show is we don't have to plan for anything. We don't have to have a script, because he's so smart that whatever I ask him, he usually can answer. So, Burt, you ready for some breath work?
Yes, definitely.
All right. So here we go. So let's ground ourselves. If you're a newbie listening, this is real simple, but really important. Okay. So I've noticed with my clients that a lot of us kind of going around with this shallow breath. We're really not taking time for ourselves to just really sit down and really breathe to our full lung capacity, So let's try to do it right now, okay? All together. So we're going to exhale out anything that's making us feel stressed or uncomfortable. And we're going to take a deep breath in through our nose for 5. And we're going to exhale it out right away for 5 through our nose. So nice and slow. 5 sounds fast, but it really isn't, okay?
Do we hold
and
in between?
So we're not going to hold, okay?
Okay.
Because when I have Burt on, I try to get as much information as possible out of him. All right. So let's do 2 rounds just so we can ground ourselves. I can focus, and we'll just get any other chitter-chatter out of our brains, okay?
Okay.
Are you ready, sir? So
I
let's
am
exhale
ready.
out.
Let it
We
out.
drop our
Let it
shoulders.
all out. Relax. Okay,
Okay.
begin. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Again. 2, 3, 4, 5. Out. 2, 3, 4, 5.
Thank you very much. I definitely feel better. Like, how simple is that to just kind of calm yourself down, help you focus at a task? I just went to a conference last week, and it was, a lot of information and a lot of really cool speakers, but they didn't have us like up and moving. And I found that that was really difficult to concentrate for hours, other than having that 1 hour lunch in between. It was really hard. You're sitting in a chair staring at the same spot, and really great information. But so I kept trying to do my breath work as I was sitting there, like, okay, if I can't move my body, at least let me get my insides going. And it really did help me concentrate and learn better, Whew, a lot of information. And so a lot of questions did come up during this learning experience. And I thought, who better than to ask than Burt? But I also wanted to take a time to mention that I am doing a lot of scanning now with my clients. And I know that you, at your practice in California, you also scan people using like resonance or biofeedback, correct, Burt?
Yes.
Okay. And I thought you'd find it interesting. The last few that I have scanned show low pepsin. And I was like, oh, how interesting. Burt makes pepsin and I sell his pepsin. And so everyone, of course, is going, Joanne, I've never heard of pepsin. I've heard of, amylase and, protease and all these fancy enzymes that but not pepsin. So I thought, let's start with reminding our listeners, or if we have some newbies listening, why is pepsin so important for our metabolic function, our digestive system, and what is it?
Pepsin helps break down protein, but the biggest difference between that and, say, protease is that pepsin is manufactured in the lining of the stomach. Little glands in the lining of the stomach produces the pepsin, and whatever is not needed to break down protein in the stomach then is able to go through the digestive tract and enter the bloodstream, and it's able to help break down stray protein throughout the body. Now, what's interesting about that is that it helps clean up little pockets of undigested stored proteins, but also it's interesting because viruses and bacteria are primarily protein based. So you just don't, I can't tell you exactly what pepsin does with that, but I have this feeling that it just helps the body take care of things that aren't supposed to be there. You know?
I do understand. And sometimes it's okay to have the general logic of it versus having to be very specific about what it does. And that's true. It's just helping our body have another tool to do what it knows what to do. It doesn't want those viruses taking over or getting out of balance, right? And so it's just basically doing what the body was already designed to do, just giving it a little help, giving it a little help.
Yeah.
And I find today that so many things, like Crohn's, being an autoimmune disease, IBS, I just feel like more and more people are having these conversations where they're going in and they're getting these blanketed autoimmune list of issues. And I know we talked about that on last month, all these different gastro issues with the esophagus and the digestive system. But I do find it interesting that pepsin's coming up a lot as deficient and need of. So I love it. And do you feel that I think you mentioned when we discussed pepsin last time that sometimes HCl comes up too for the same client. Do you feel that pepsin should cover it all, or should I still put them on the HCl before the meals as well?
No, if it comes up that they're low in HCl, they definitely need to be taking that because pepsin doesn't work without HCl. We don't combine it into the capsule because not everyone needs more hydrochloric acid. But for those that do, you just need to have that. Now, the nice thing about that is that the digestive energy pepsin capsules that Positive Power Nutrition makes, it's a vegan form of pepsin. Almost all pepsin sold everywhere in the world comes from hog stomachs when they have turned the rest of the hog into pork,
Another
bacon, whatever
product.
it is. You've got the stomach left over, and the stomach lining is where pepsin is produced. So with the digestive energy pepsin being a vegan form, it is a product of microbial fermentation, much like a natural B12. But the pepsin is there. It's since it's looking for HCl, I've had kind of a surprising thing. It's not something that we would have expected, but for people that do have an excess of stomach acid, which is rare, but if they do, the pepsin, by taking that, seeking the HCl, it absorbs or seems to absorb the rest of that excess HCl for those people that maybe 10% of the population have that problem. So it's a great thing. I've had people say, I just don't have acid reflux anymore. And again, the pepsin does not change the pH of the stomach. It's not like taking, calcium or chalk little tablets that come in the roll that have been around forever. You're not trying to do anything that would lessen the production of HCl in the body, but it does help mop that up because it needs that to work. So if somebody's low in HCl, yes, you need to add that too.
And I absolutely love with the Positive Power Nutrition formulas, it's all working without shutting down the system. It's just trying to enhance what the body already knows what to do and just kind of give it a little extra oomph. So I love that because so many products, even in the natural food industry, are designed similar to pharmaceuticals, like shutting down, making a wall. And so I love that yours is just, this beautiful energy that's kind of like siphoned into the human to say, okay, here's a little more help. Kind of like a good night's sleep, right? When we work so much better at a good night's sleep. So do you remember Suzanne Summers when she started 20 years ago? Talking about HCl. Do you remember that whole? She wrote a couple books, and she looks amazing. So great for all the audience to view her. She definitely lives what she preaches, and she was saying that all people, especially females over 35, slow down their production of HCl, and that's why they need to take it before meals. Is there any truth to what she said 20 years ago?
I think there is. I mean, what happens is if you're not getting enough good natural salts, a natural salt complex like a Celtic sea salt or a Himalayan rock salt, if you're not getting that, then your body doesn't have the raw materials to make enough hydrochloric acid. And ideally, the stomach acid is going to be between the pH of 1.5 and 3. But you can't break down proteins, whether it's comes from meat or nuts or whatever it is, without the hydrochloric acid. That's its function. And then right when the food leaves the stomach and goes into the small intestine, and that's when the pH is more normalized for the rest of the body. But yeah, if a lot of people are not, I think maybe we talked before about the fact that if you create a brine by taking a Himalayan rock salt that's a rock or many small rocks, and
Right.
you're putting distilled water over that and letting it normalize, and then adding a little bit of that, maybe a teaspoon, into 8 ounces of distilled water. If you're low on HCl, then you should be taking the supplement until your body can make enough of its own. But don't expect the body to make hydrochloric acid without good salts.
Right. And there is a movement on social media that does try to discuss this, but with a little more youthful flair than sometimes we might discuss it. And so they made a lot of big, lofty claims, but where I feel they made the mistake. So if someone's following this little social media trend. So what Bert said is correct, but what they do is they tell you to add like juice and make a drink for your child that might be suffering with digestive issues, or I'm like, they're like straight up juice. I'm like, why did they go wrong and throw this, refined sugary juice into the mix? I don't really know. I guess to get the kid to drink some salt water. Don't really know, but that is a big trend right now in the last month. So
Interesting.
yeah, it's interesting, right? So I don't have, so I actually just signed up for TikTok so I can start making comments. And I just want to be like, gosh, you guys were so close, but take the juice out. And one of them, instead of saying juice, and of course my daughters tell me all these stories, I don't see them, because they, I guess, have 8 hours to scroll. I guess they're supposed to be in school. Not sure how that's working out, but yeah, so the one says, okay, no, I would never use juice. I just put the coconut water in. Again, but so many of our coconut waters are processed and full of sugar too. So just if you are watching that social trend, and I think that's why Celtic sea salt is out of stock everywhere, at least in my area, because people are following it. Just please, do your homework, do some research, and it does have great health abilities, but just don't throw in the sugary processed juice. Sounds
No,
it.
and I would think, if you're going to go that direction, how easy is it to buy an orange or a grapefruit, cut it in half, and squeeze the fresh natural juice right into the glass with a cup if that's the direction you're going to go. But you certainly
Right.
don't want to, yeah, you certainly don't want to get the processed sugary ones.
Oh, God, yeah.
Not to mention, I look back over the time, because all of our children are grown now. We've got 13 grandchildren, so we're excited
Oh my
about that.
gosh.
The they I think maybe 20 years ago or 15 years ago, parents said, I'm going to do something more natural than letting the kids drink soda pop, that's carbonated and loaded with all kinds of sugars or fake sugars, which are even worse. And so they said, well, let's do something with juice. But then they got the little juice boxes, which are lined with aluminum and have the little, sharp straw that you stick through the aluminum into the thing. But, that is getting aluminum into these small children at an age when they're developing. So it actually becomes part of the bone and the organs as they grow from, 2 or 3 year olds on up. So I think that was just almost going from bad to worse.
I know, right?
Yeah. So,
It's
so I
like
mean,
we
if
really try a little step forward, but then we take a big one back, you know?
Yeah. And I mean, and it's better to eat the orange or the grapefruit with the fiber, but rather than even juicing it. But if you're gonna juice a fresh uh, orange or grapefruit or even a lemon, add some lemon in. My favorite is to have Valencia orange juice that I take the time and you know squeeze the Valencia oranges and do half of that and then half of uh, pink grapefruit and put them in the same glass. I just love
That
that.
sounds delicious.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
even then, it's not like I should be doing that every single day. I should be
right.
eating it. So I've been doing that um, better, getting more of the grapefruit, rather than the fancy little grapefruit spoon. I just cut it into discs and then pull it apart and, eat it over the sink or something because it's
Yep.
so
And
juicy.
and you know what? I feel like the one thing I love about when I scan myself is it does kind of make it like when I was doing the program and especially with the fall coming, the apples were just like amazing, right? So I was really going maybe a little too apple crazy. And sure enough, my scan said, okay, hold off on the apples. And I know everyone doesn't have a scan in their room, but the thing is to really mix it up, like really, change things up. There's so much healthy produce. And you ready? Bert, I'm about to do a little advertising for the store right now. So we are about to begin our seasonal produce co-op. So if you would like to join, it's only $85 every other week, and you get only the best organic produce, huge basket full. Just picture one of those dollar store laundry baskets, filled with the most beautiful produce. We always pick staple items like your apples, your lettuces, your carrots, your onions, your garlic, and then we always throw in some new exciting ones, some recipe cards. So every other week, $85. The pickup is at the store, of course. And it's really it's like getting half price on grade A organic produce. And it really feels good to walk in a room with 24 baskets of produce filled with you. So I love doing this. So yeah, so if you're interested, we are do need the deposit of $85 before the 20th. The first order will be coming the following Friday. Okay, so get you ready and healthy for Halloween. So in case you're going to partake in all that toxic processed candy, at least you'll have some nutrition in your belly when you do it. Okay, that commercial's over. Thank you, everyone. Oh, call the store. Matt's there, 464-3598. You like that commercial, Bert?
I love the fact that you're doing all that, and like you say, the produce that's in season, you know,
Yes,
when-
always. Yeah.
yeah.
And that's what I love. And some people, you know, um, will say, "Oh, but what about if there's this isn't available?" I said, "Then you shouldn't be eating it because if it's not
That's right.
available in our
That's
area,
right.
then you really shouldn't be eating it. You should stay to what locally can grow, and and especially right now, all the beautiful squashes. Oh my gosh, I'm loving them. And you can make them 5 million different ways, sweet, savory. Yeah, I made a homemade lentil soup and a big stuffed squash last night, and yeah, and some lamb chops.
That's
For
really
our
good.
vegetarian listeners, sorry.
Ah,
Uh,
no, that sounds wonderful.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
really good. When it gets even 10 degrees cooler here in Florida, I all of a sudden my cooking gene turns on. It's like I during the summer I could care less, but it's like just give me a salad, But when it cools down just a touch, it's like let's make soup. Let's make soup. So, all right. So Bert, I have another question for you, okay? So we do at the wellness center, as you do, the I am for detoxes, and there is oh my gosh, I lost the during the program, the hypothalamus reset program, the clients are told in your instruction workbook to do the silica, which I understand 100% why the positive power super silica is used, that detoxification pathway and amazing other things, but it's the cell power. I, been selling it for years. I know why it's good in general, but does it have a special reason why out of all the things positive power nutrition makes that you included that in the hypothalamus reset program?
Yes, what happens is that you need as much energy during that program as you can possibly get. If you want someone to really have better results on the daily weight loss during phase 2, you would want to get to bed early. Now, a lot of people say, well, I can't go to sleep. And well, during this, you really do, because your body's using so much energy to try to get out these stored poisons. We're talking about the body didn't have enough energy to eliminate them. So you've been carrying them around for months or years or decades, poisons that are in the middle, stored in the middle of fat in these fat cells. So you want to get as much energy as possible. If a person can get outside and get 10 to 20 minutes of sunshine on their, exposed skin, then maybe they don't need as much cell power. But for most people working indoors, you need to get your electricity levels up so that the cells can open to start dumping all of that. We're not talking about just the normal poisons that we all carry around, but things that are so toxic that the body won't let it even go through the elimination organs because of the damage that could occur. So the silica helps buffer that toxic poison so that it can go out through the kidneys and the colon. And the cell power is just raising the electrical level. That way you can get as much nutrition from your 2 meals that you are having, because it double to triple the nutrition coming from other supplements and other good foods. So that's really why the cell power is added to that more than anything else. I mean, there still is not. Cell power held the record for over 70 years in the world for the highest electrical potential of any food or supplement. And it's still up there at number 2, just right behind the high energy C complex. So.
And I'm so glad you said that sentence, because as I'm learning more about like frequencies and energy medicine, right? Because I feel like I would have to study 30 years and nothing else and not sleep or eat, just study that. I am everyone, for instance, is all about the red light right now, but that's like a frequency, like an energy, and your products can do it like daily versus having to buy a very expensive usually device and just be able to do it here and there. So I do want people not to get nervous about the word energy, and Bert has talked about it openly on the show many times with his supplement, and I know sometimes it's hard to understand when you put the word energy with a pill that you might be taking or a liquid that you're diluting, but we are energy, and right, we all know when we don't have it, things don't feel so good. So it's really, we don't have to overcomplicate it. My big tagline now, Bert, at the store is, I don't understand everything, but I can also call my friend on the other side of the world, and in 10 seconds I hear her voice from this little device, right? And so I don't know how that really happens, but so that's how I think about sometimes when I'm learning about how these scans work, how the ion foot detox works, the PEMF, the infrared sauna. It's like I'm kind of just accepting that maybe that's not my gift to memorize all those stats, but I do know it all works, just like your super silica works and your cell power works. I love it. It's incredible. So I guess the question that I was leading to in the beginning is during the program, they come in once a week for like body fat testing measurements, just to kind of go over their journal, see where they're at, and they do get an eye on foot detox that day. They're already doing the 60 drops of the silica each day, if not more. Um, should we do like a concentration before and after the ion foot detox? Because I think in a show, maybe a year back or something, you mentioned at your clinic you do a little extra during their foot detoxes. Am I
Yeah,
correct?
yes, because we found that a lot more poisons can leave the body if they've had a serving of super silica. That would be 16 ounces or more of distilled or purified water with the 12 drops of the concentrate. So, but you're right. If they're already doing 60 drops pretty regularly throughout the day, the biggest thing they're going to need is they're going to need extra rest after a foot detox. What we found is if you really want to see the effects continue for a couple of days after the session, is to make sure they're getting a nap or getting to bed earlier. I mean, if you're saying I can't go to sleep, well, there's a simple solution for that. Get up at 3 a.m. the next morning, and I guarantee you'll feel like going to sleep at 7 or 8 the day that you get up early.
Right.
So it depends on what time of the day that you're sleeping. An hour of sleep from 2 to 3 a.m. is only worth 15 minutes compared to like an afternoon nap.
Absolutely. Yep.
It's 1/4 the actual recharging of the body's batteries, and it just takes a lot of rest. But we'll find that a person will lose a lot more weight if they're getting either the afternoon nap or going to sleep at night at 7 or 8. Whenever
Yep.
whenever
By
whenever
sunset.
the yeah,
Yep. By
just
sunset.
just during phase 2, it just makes a huge difference.
And I feel like it has a double benefit because then you're not tempted by the refrigerator calling your name as you're binging on Netflix and watching something that's so silly. I was definitely that person, I was like, well, I've been on my feet all day at the store, I deserve this 3 hours of Netflix. But what happens as you're sitting there is that all of a sudden the pantry's calling your name, the refrigerator's calling your name, and then it's like mindless eating, not mindful, mindless. And so what I always say, by going to bed early, you're avoiding that conversation with, your evil nemesis on your shoulder, and you're getting your circadian rhythm that was set before time, to regulate itself, and the rewards are bountiful. I mean, right? We couldn't even have enough time to talk about all the rewards of getting your circadian rhythm back in line. That is how our hypothalamus is supposed to regulate that. And so again, when you sleep better, your hypothalamus regulates better, and then it's all working better. So love it. All right.
And,
So go
right
ahead.
before you go to bed at night is a perfect time to do 5 minutes of deep breathing. So
Yep.
I tell people to lie down on the carpet or on a rug and completely relax all the muscles, the whole body, and then, count it off. Do 5 minutes of deep breathing right before you go to sleep at night. And then when you wake up in the morning, when you're kind of like feeling groggy, not sure if you want to get out of bed, say, well, I'm just getting out of bed to go over here and lie down on my carpet or rug and do 5 more minutes of deep breathing. So if you do that to start your day and to end your day, that's going to help a lot during the true wellness diet.
I have a lot of clients that will say, Joanne, the breath work is too difficult. And I'm and I'm like, you know what? When you go to the gym the first time and you go on the treadmill, you might be at the lowest speed, and that still might be an effort, right? Because so you're not only just convincing your body that it's worth it, but your mind has to be in agreement with your body. So you're having that conversation. And I said, same thing with the breath work. If you've never done it before, you have to kind of tell your body, listen, this is important. We need that 1 minute to ourselves to fill up our lungs and relax our body. And so, wow, you do get phone calls. Wow, Bert. um, so yeah, so I always say, just like it might be tough, by the third night, it's less tough. By the fifth night, it's getting good. And then by 2 weeks, you're gonna want to do 20 minutes versus 2 seconds because it feels so amazing. So give that a try, everyone. So Bert, even though I try to be perfect, I'm not. I'm not. And I have some problems and I need your help. So I was doing a brain lecture. It was great. And I kept emphasizing how the eyes are part of the brain and we really need to take care of them. And then I realized that my issue with color differentiated at night is still a problem. And then when I was doing a new order for Positive Power Nutrition, I saw all the night blindness bottles and I went, oh my gosh, that's what I'm forgetting to take. So
Well,
maybe I need a brain thing too. But so really, can you explain, like, why is it I remember it happening to my mom, my neighbor? She will never go close to dusk or in the evening to any event, even if it's an important event, because they're all so scared of driving in the dark. And I'm starting to get a little bit of that fear too. And I'm only 55, Bert. I don't want to have that. I want to be able to drive at night and go anywhere I want. So help me with what's happening right now.
um, the Night Eyes formula in the capsules is great for helping with night vision, but it's a lot more than that. I mean, it has carrot root juice powder, 100 milligrams in every capsule. It's got taurine. It has 25,000 international units of 100% natural beta carotene for vitamin A. As long as I keep taking 4 or 5 capsules a day, for me, now not everyone's going to need that quantity, it really helps with my vision, with my eyes. That and the eye energy drops, of going ahead with a little dropper and putting that right on the where the bones are all around the eye, rubbing that in. If a couple drops get in the eye, it's fine. It's eye safe. But I'll find that the colors are brighter. There's more light coming into the eye. The other thing is silica. So at least during phase 2 or during the days when you're doing 60 drops of the super silica in drinking water, is going to help tremendously. Silica has the quantum physics property. So as soon as you talk about quantum physics, that means it's not going to make normal sense. It's not Newtonian science. But what it does is that silica actually attracts light. So it's not just that you're opening your eyelid and the light that's in the room is just coming in. If you have enough silica in the macula of the eye, which is the center of the retina that covers the optic nerve, if you have enough silica, it's going to actually, like a science fiction tractor beam or whatever, but this is real, it grabs the light and pulls it right into the eye. Cats house cats are known for being able to see almost in zero light. It's because the macula of the eye of a house cat is so much higher percentage wise than it is for humans. So again, get in the silica, get all of the basic nutrients and the Night Eyes formula. Are you on phase 3A or 3B right now?
Oh gosh, you're testing me. The 3A.
Okay.
A. Yes.
Which means you can start taking the Night Eyes. I wouldn't take that during the 3 to 6 weeks of phase 2, because you're trying to get your body to focus everything on resetting the hypothalamus and fixing it, repairing it from all of the damage from poisons that get into that center part of the brain. But during phase 3, that's when we can start adding back in the high energy C complex and the night eyes and the anti-stress B complex, all of those things that will help us adjust back into a whatever is going to be our normal diet for the rest of our life.
Yeah, and I think that's when I got out of sync with with the other supplements because I was so used to doing just like the liquids, and
Yeah,
so it
yeah,
just I kind of liked that break though. It was nice not to be swallowing pills, you know.
yeah.
I did have some pill fatigue, but it's definitely gone now. Now I'm excited about them again. And what I noticed when I looked at your formula, um, all these things, if you go by what's popular for the heart right now in general, the brain, they're all the same ingredients, you know. So all these amazing nutrient dense foods that you have concentrated in here. So it's kind of the reason we're supposed to eat produce. All the things you
Yeah,
have in
yeah.
here, it's in there in a concentrate. So I love that. All right, so that is absolutely awesome. So now I do want to talk about your it's new feet, right? I think it's so funny that it's called feet because I use it pretty much everywhere else but my feet.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. The idea, it's a super silica topical spray, the exact same formula. It's in the 4 ounce or the 8 ounce spray bottles, but this, starting with the 16 ounce sprayer, we call it brand new feet, and then underneath it says high energy super silica topical spray. But we mentioned it that way because we had stores that were just selling huge quantities. We almost couldn't ship them enough of the super silica topical spray, and people were spraying it on the calluses on their heels, on the bottom of their feet, the top of the feet, and rubbing it in. And they were reporting that within 7 to 10 days, the feet were so soft they hadn't seen that, since they were a child. So, but the whole rest of the body, I'm with you. I use it on my face, especially men use it as an aftershave on the face. I use it really on the hands a lot. It really depends on what you're doing with your hands, but it's for the whole body.
Yep.
But
I
don't forget
love
the
it.
feet. Yeah,
Well,
don't
it's
don't
so
don't forget
funny
the feet.
because after I'm done showering, I keep my bottle right in the corner and
Uh-huh.
I spray my, being Irish, I get a lot of brown spots, so I'm trying to work on all those. So I spray the top of my hands and then I move them to get the chest and then I'm like, I might need a bottle a day at this point, but my husband definitely commented that the chest area, which I always make sure I hit, not always the rest of the body, is it feels softer. So I definitely notice. So it's hard to detect when your brown spots are lightening up. I mean, it's really hard to me. You know, and I always tell people maybe they won't disappear 100%, but that you're preventing future ones. That's to me always the goal, like the prevention of that rapid aging process. So what I love is it's so soft. Where before I felt like I almost had dry skin that wanted to be peeled off, almost like as if I had a sunburn or something. I don't get those anymore. My esthetician friend did call it some fancy long name that I was having, where my skin was flaking too quickly, but it's gone. So thank you again for that. So I love it. And when I did get scanned yesterday, the word callus came up. So I was like, oh, okay, I got to use more of the new feet.
Oh
So
yeah, and people can use it on their elbows. It's really wherever you have um, the reason people think of feet is it's whatever part of the body where the skin has been really not babied, not taken care of. So
you know what I just thought of, Bert? My lab, she gets those things, like those elbow calluses. You know, a lot of dogs labs do. So I'm gonna start spraying her with it. I could do that, right?
yes, but the first thing I'd start out with, and maybe you're already doing that with the lab, is to put out an extra water bowl with super silica drops in it.
Oh, okay.
Because for animals, they respond to the drops so much faster than we do as humans. I mean, they just have a much more simple body structure than a human body. And
So
so
we give them the 5 gallon, and then we have a turnover on, we don't limit their water intake. So
right.
I could just put in the 5 gallon then. Oh, it's
Yes.
plastic though. It's a plastic 5 gallon. Um,
Um,
will that be okay? Or
yeah, it should be. I mean, the whole idea is what weight is the dog?
she's probably a good 85 pounds now.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that means that that would be either 4 drops of cell power every day or 12 drops of super silica. So a dog that size could have 12 drops a day. But I always say if you don't give them two choices on their water, you're not letting them use their built-in cellular
In
intelligence. And
intuitive
especially,
ability.
oh, I mean, I mean, especially animals are that way. I remember that
Yeah.
I used to take one of our dogs as a walk through a canyon right next to our house, and there'd be all kinds of puddles of rainwater and our little dog would go up and sniff at the puddle, and then kind of turn up its nose like, no, let's keep going. It would go and go until it found the one that was like, okay, yeah,
I can drink
this
this
is the
one.
right, I can drink this. And it's the same thing when you have two water bowls. I know with your dispenser thing you're talking about, it might be a little bit more difficult, but you want to give them the choice of just the plain purified water they're drinking versus one that has the silica in it. And if you see the dog is starting to chew at any tall grass, that's an indication that they're really low on silica. So if they get outside and they're going out and chewing on that tall grass, that means they're trying to get silica out of the taller grass.
Okay.
Not the lawn that's way down low, because that doesn't have the silica. It has to be something that has grown 6 inches or 12 inches or more. So
Yeah, and I mean, I even see the pet stores now, they're selling the grass, and I'm like, well, maybe figure out what's wrong with them, right? But but yeah, I love that idea. And my dogs would totally be fine with having extra water bowls hanging around. They'll love it. So I'll do it in a glass bowl. And so okay, awesome. God, you always give me ideas every single show. You would think with all this time we've spent together, maybe information would be lacking, but absolutely not. Okay, so there was another question. So we answered the cell power, we answered the super silica, the pepsin, the night eyes. It was about, oh my gosh, oh, the C. Okay, the energy potential for the vitamin C. Didn't you say that was getting stronger and stronger? Our last conversation about it.
yes, the biggest thing is there was so much electricity actually in every particle of the vitamin C that when we went to put it in capsules, even without using the little metal pin on this machine, does 100,000 capsules an hour, and it does it perfectly. But without even using the little tapping pin to try to tap it in, it would get inside the capsule and it would kind of try to get back out because it was pushing, all the particles were pushing away from each other. So we were able to work with a scientist on the quantum physics part of it and found a way to get more of that vitamin C, the food source of ascorbic acid, to get a lot more in each capsule. So instead of 2 capsules being 1,250 milligrams, which is the high energy vitamin C 1250, we're now shipping the high energy vitamin C complex 1700. That means that it's 36% more food source ascorbic acid is getting into every capsule.
Okay.
And we were able to keep the price almost exactly the same, but it's getting into there. And it has, for the first time, it's up to 10 times the energy potential of cell power. And cell power held the world record for over 70 years. But now with the high energy C, the vitamin C complex 1700, it comes in at 135 million.
Holy moly, Bert, that's huge.
And it stays inside of the capsule because we figured out how to look at something at a microscopic or submicroscopic level, and as to how to be able to pack it in closer without it trying to fly out of the capsule.
It's like, I
And
got too much energy. Let me go.
yeah.
Yeah.
And
Oh my God,
because it's
I
in
love
there
that.
and then sealed off with that vegan capsule, it has all of that extra energy. I mean, almost not every person, but almost every person I talk to, they can take 1 or 2 capsules of the vitamin C complex with a glass of water and actually feel a difference in their body within 10 to 15 minutes.
Oh my God, that's
It's
awesome.
it's because it's that level of electricity that gets in there and just spreads out voltage wise through, our 50 trillion cells. So, just recently, I went all the way through from 2020 till now through all the COVID years, the lockdown, and we were working extra hours and shipping more product than ever at our company, and never really ended up with any kind of a cough. But about 10 days ago, I started getting really kind of this severe cough. And so I started doing what my wife had done, and she did it very effectively, is with our immune power complex, which is kind of a newer
I
product that
have
we've
that
come
one.
out with. Yeah, it
Yeah,
has
I do have it.
the black elderberry and the astragalus and all the mushrooms, everything in it. I started taking every 2 hours during the day. So that means I was getting in 6 dosages a day. I would take 1 immune power complex with 2 of the high energy C1700. So I would do that 6 times a day, and I could feel at the end of the day, I was like, wow, I can't believe it's so much better. But, by the time I woke up the next morning, it kind of hit me hard again. So it took me 10 days to knock that out. I mean, it went,
Well, your
from
body said it let you get 3 years without nothing so you could help others. And now it's telling you take time and take a break. I love one of my friends. He has a similar story. Like he didn't get anything, not like one day problem when he was needed during COVID. Like he was serving all these other people, getting, information to them, helping them heal from their issues. But just recently, same thing. And I said, well, maybe it's a hint that you need to have a vacation and take some time to yourself. The body does that too. It's
yeah.
like, there is vacations needed sometimes. So, um, all right. Wow. You're going through so much great information. So you know what? I do have some exciting news, Bert. I don't think I told you last month. Our next wellness room. So for a while, I had 2 offices, one in my wellness and one in my store side. So I'm just going to keep the store side, and I made my other office. Well, it's in the moments of making a sound healing room. So we have a acoustic transducer bed being created, and we're going to do the whole bone conducting music. And doesn't that sound cool?
Yeah, very cool.
Yeah, so I'm so excited. We tried the bed just last weekend, and because a lot of them were super expensive, so I was like, I want to create one that I know works for us, and we just laid on it, and it was incredible. I mean, just incredible. Have you ever tried one of the acoustic beds?
No, I haven't, but I have worked with practitioners that use that quite a bit.
Yeah. Oh, it's incredible. It's absolutely incredible. It's like one of those things like quantum physics. I don't really get how it all works, but I definitely feel better after I do it. So, so wonderful. Uh, all right. So, Bert, let me we have 5 more minutes, and I know you have anything exciting that you want to talk about. I'm always the one asking questions.
No, but I've been thinking since we started the show today talking about pepsin, the digestive energy pepsin capsules um, are so important. I mean, when you're saying a whole bunch of people are coming up on their scans short on pepsin,
Right.
it's because it is the most uh, energy draining thing that our body does. So out of everything that the human body does, everything, it digestion takes up the most electrical energy. Okay, as a matter of fact, from whatever energy you get from the food that we eat, almost 90% of that energy goes to digesting the food that we eat. So
Wow.
if
Okay.
you think of people saying, well, I just feel like I need to eat more, and they're eating more and more quantity of food, it's because so much is used up. But out of all of the digestive processes, making pepsin in the glands of the stomach, it takes up the most energy. So again, if you can have something that's already pre-made and ready to go that your body doesn't have to make. So that's why it's called digestive energy. It saves that energy to be used for something else. And then the eye energy drops when you're adding that energy back into all of the bones that kind of act as a battery all around the eye. When you're doing that, that's because vision takes up the second highest amount of electricity on a daily basis next to digestion. And so if you close your eyes, you've already reduced the energy drain in your body. Just closing the eyelids and sitting there, you are already reducing the amount of energy in a huge way that your body is using, which is why people used to say, I'm going to get a little shut-eye. Now, everybody thought, oh, they meant sleep. Well, if you fall asleep, great. But if you don't stress out. I guess that's what I'd like to say right now is that people still have this thing kind of like, oh, I have insomnia and I can't get to sleep. And they stress out about it. It's like, well, just close your eyes and relax and just enjoy it. You're actually getting over 80%, almost 90% of the sleep benefits without actually going into REM cycles or sleep. So if you went a whole night of just closing your eyes and doing the deep breathing, first of all, most people fall asleep. They said, well, I thought I was going to stay up all night, but I didn't, because the deep breathing combined with closing the eyes and relaxing the muscles, well, you know.
I love it. I know. And I do find that it's hard for the younger generation, especially my children, to really understand this concept. You know, when they come home after a long day at school and then they start like, going on their devices, I'm like, you know what? Why don't you take a big glass of water, close your eyes, take a few deep breaths? And they're like, oh, no, 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 no. And it's like this whole like crankiness and static, that I'm feeling. I'm like, why don't you just want to close your eyes for 30 seconds? Like if you're not tired. And sure enough, when a couple of them do it, they fall asleep. And I'm like, their bodies are so exhausted, but if I can just get everyone just to close their eyes and, like you said, relax. Burt, as always, such a pleasure. Thank you so much for all your info, and I'll definitely talk to you soon.
Thank you.
All right. Take care, Burt. All right. Thank you, everyone. I hope you enjoyed the show. If you have any questions, always call us at 464-3598.
You've been listening to Joanne's World of Nutrition. Heard every Wednesday morning in the 10 o'clock hour, right here on WPSL. Archives of this show are on YouTube. Just go to WPSLTV.com and look for episodes and binge watch some Joanne's World of Nutrition. Brought to you by Joanne's Nutrition World in downtown Fort Pierce. This is WPSL, Port St. Lucie, the talk of the Treasure Coast, webcaster to the world on Google Home, Alexa, and the TuneIn app on your smartphone.